I had one mistake in here. Let's see where we're at. Turn off the click because it's driving me crazy. Okay, let's see. I'm doing a quantize for now. I just want to make sure that it's not too much. So I do like maybe like 80. And do the smart. Well, I don't have to do smart. I also usually do dynamics by 75%. I find that evens it out a bit when I do MIDI stuff. Maybe it's too much. Okay, that's better. Maybe stay a bit on the F. Yeah, I like that. It's okay. It's not genius. Nice. I would like to add a bass part, and I'll show you a little trick that I think works very nice. And I go into it, and I just select the lowest notes, and I delete unselected. So I'm just going to go through what I've done, and I start with the beginning. I had a really happy accident with the Serum 2 plugin. There was a really fun mandolin-esque part there. That gives that extra movement that I was looking for, maybe an arpeggio or something, but this works much nicer. So this is more in the big train kind of style. It's not a Camel in that regard. So I added that, and that plays through on the A parts here, and then we have the B part, which is much more soft and introvert piano-driven melody, and then we go back to A for once more, repeat. When I put the Serum back in. So we go to the beginning here, and we have drums and bass. I simplified the bass player, so it plays only most root notes, and I also added some, well, I can stop during the playthrough and just tell you what I've done. Yeah, so this is the Moog riff that I started the whole process with. It's kind of a little bit corny and sweet, but I like it, and the sound is great. I think now maybe it should have been a little bit more cut-off frequency to go through, but and maybe I'll add an extra layer in my next session. But for now it works. It's kind of sweet and soft and velvety, you might say. It's called Polymode, and that is the Polymode synth from Cherry Audio, which is Polymoog recreation, which I guess is really accurate. I have, of course, I have never played a Polymoog in my life, so it sounds a little bit more tinny than I actually would have thought, but I think that's quite accurate actually. But it gives I just added an extra layer here, and it sounds yeah, sounds okay. It just adds a little bit more in the high top half of the register. So. And also it reminds me of Camel, so that's not a good thing. That's the good thing, I mean. And then we go into the next section where the melody comes in. And then I also have added as just a high note in the top here, and that's from the Moog Muse, and that's about it. We also mute the Moog part, Polymoog part. Sorry, I'm saying Moog and Moog on top of each other. Yeah, so this is Moog Muse lead that I made myself, and it sounds really nice. I use another lead, I think, in the B section. Yeah, I use something I called Moog Mono, which means soft mono. Very original of me, but that's also a sound that I made myself on the. So we place one time. Yeah. I thought it was good to add that one note part here because it gets a little bit more glued together. And then we go into the B part, and there, today I just added a string part here with the Another Cherry Audio Pro Soloist, which is a recreation of the ARP Pro Soloist, which is a kind of plugin I've been wanting for years, because you know Tony Banks used that a lot on Lamb Blast down on Broadway, and it has a really distinctive sounds that in some ways you can't get anywhere else. So when they launched this one, I bought it immediately, and I also found some strings there where I added some just added some phaser. This sounds very Camel, I think. Of course, you couldn't play polyphonic on the ARP Pro Soloist, but this is a plugin, so you can. This sounds more like a, I don't know, maybe an Elka string ensemble or something from the 70s. So I just put in that to get a little bit more together with the piano part, which is basically chords one time before the synth part gets in. Yeah. So, and also I added this part here, which is called Steel String PW. It's also one of my own patches. And that's just basically a really simple Moog Muse patch. Yeah, it just fills the space a little bit, so you get a little bit more layering as you go through the tune. And then comes the lead part here. Yeah, I really love that kind of sound, and I'm not sure if that is correct, but in my opinion, that's the kind of sound you more easily get from a hardware synth, because I feel that the kind of interaction between the voices and the way you play it, and you can fiddle the knobs during playing. I haven't done that much here, but I feel that this is a little bit more alive than a usual plugin. I'm not sure if I could hear difference in a blind test, but for me this sounds much more live. It almost sounds like a flute with a little bit of breath and a little bit of distortion there, and I think it's just wonderful. So that's my tastes, at least. And also down here, there I faded out these Camel strings because I didn't want to use it twice, because it can be a little bit too much. It kind of grabs some attention, so I put in actually a patch from Massive X from Native Instruments, and that's called Wintry Tinkle, just a factory preset. But I thought it sounded really good. Yeah, I just doubled the piano voice, so it gets that little wintry feeling now in the middle of the end of May. Yeah. So if we go a little bit back, it sounds like this. Yeah, I think this. Yeah, I like this part. It's good. I'm happy with it. And I also like this wintry tinkle because it adds a little bit more mystery, I might say. And then we go into the D flat, E flat, and it builds up to the transition back to the A part and the main theme. And here I recorded a sound with the Muse that's called Fat Monster. I'm not sure if it's that much monster, but no, wait a minute, that's not a Moog, it's actually a Korg Trident plugin. Sorry, I heard that once. This is a free plugin. I'm not quite sure. I think it's from Cherry Audio. I'm not sure actually. I should have known, sorry. But it's called Trident Mark III. And yeah, it has a... I haven't used that much, but I thought for this part it's good. And I think it works. So it sounds like this. Yeah. And then the drummer and the bass comes in here. And I have some orchestra bass, and that is the Moog. Yeah. I think the stereo effect in the Muse is just, it helps so much to just get stuff panned in the left and right speaker, and you can have the more important stuff in the middle. But I really love that interplay between the voices. So it's kind of addictive. I don't think, of course, when I play leads, sounds or bass, I turn the panning down to mono. But for like pads and stuff, it's just, yeah, it's so easy. And I think it sounds really great. Reminds me of my OB8, where you also could individually pan every voice. Which you can't hear, but yeah. And then we stay on these F chords, F root chords for a while, and then we go back to A. So basically that's it, and there's nothing much more happening in the... I have... yeah, I think that's it actually. So we just have this, and of course I have my solo on this part here, which I was quite happy. It's okay, I play some wrong notes, but who cares? I mean, it's intention that is important in my view. So that's basically it, and then I just had to make a quick ending, and then I just let the Serum play a little bit more, just for a fade out.